Xia Qingming placed the fox on my shoulder. Her voice was cold. If you dare to seduce him, it'll make sure you lose the ability to find a male fox forever. The little fox's heart fluttered under her gaze. It quickly nodded. I smiled gently at Xia Qingming. I stroked the little fox on my shoulder. Your name is Shu Wei Yu. The little fox nodded. I spoke to it through our pact. Call me master. Let me hear it. The little fox fur bristled immediately. Don't bully a fox too much. I laughed and stopped teasing it. I bent down to pick up the book of stars from the ground. I tried to open this book, but it wouldn't open no matter what. I quickly gave up. Tilting my head, I looked at the little fox on my shoulder. Now you can tell me what this book does. The little fox hesitated. It replied in my mind. Actually, I came to this world to find the star essence, to open this ancient book, but I ran into enemies who were chasing me. They seriously injured me, although I got some clues about the star essence, but because I can't maintain my human form for long, I haven't had a chance to continue the search. I raised an eyebrow. Star essence, I said. The initial, half of the star essence that the Yu family head gave me appeared in my hand. I have half of it here. Do you have clues about the other half? The little fox's eyes immediately lit up. I know where the other half is. The little fox named a location. Hearing this, I smiled. Originally, I just wanted to watch the excitement tonight, but now it seems I have to make the trip. I collected my thoughts. I looked at Xia Qingming again and stepped forward. Xia Qingming subconsciously took a few steps back. I directly pushed her against the wall, and my words came out, making Xia Qingming's breathing quicken. I said with a smile, darling, let's continue. With that, I wrapped my arm around Xia Qingming's waist, kissing Xia Qingming's thin lips. My hand also slid down from her waist. The little fox subconsciously covered its eyes, but the hall door was suddenly pushed open. The headmaster was in a wheelchair. He appeared at the main door. Behind him were many students. Everyone saw Xia Qingming being pushed against the wall and kissed. They all froze. I heard the commotion and pulled away from Xia Qingming. The murderous glare in my eyes could not be hidden at all. The former headmaster cried out inwardly. Without hesitation, he started explaining. That is, some students disappeared here. I was worried something happened to you. Hearing this, my expression softened slightly. I picked up the little fox. Where are those missing students? The former headmaster and the students, hearing me talk to a fox, they all thought I was possessed. The little fox's resentful voice echoed in my mind. They're all alive. Let them go. I nodded, and the next moment, a light flashed at the top of the bookstore. The sound of several footsteps came from upstairs. Everyone felt awkward hearing the commotion. A few students came down the stairs. Their faces were haggard. Many people looked at me in shock. A student who came down greeted the headmaster. The headmaster looked at the only male student among them. This male student looked to be in his 20s. He was the only other male god besides Xiao Yunqi, Rong Jingyan. The headmaster sighed in relief. Follow me, about what happened during this time. I need to understand it thoroughly. He greeted me a little uneasily. Seeing that I didn't object, he then led them away. Before leaving with the headmaster, Rong Jingyan turned his head to look at Xia Qingming and smiled faintly. Xia Qingming? Thank you. Although he couldn't see the situation here clearly, he felt that Xia Qingming had saved him. Seeing this, the four people beside him also thanked Xia Qingming. The headmaster then left the hall. However, a few students had no sense of not disturbing others. They had no intention of leaving. I secretly memorized their faces, leaving the hall. During the afternoon training, the students I had memorized received my full and special attention. Some of them almost ended up in the hospital. During that time, Xia Qingming's little assistant came once to take Xia Qingming to handle some matters. Soon, it was time for school to end. I went directly to the hall in front of the headmaster's office. However, as soon as I entered the hall, I ran into Director Chen. Director Chen saw me. A flash of killing intent appeared in his eyes. He said, should I say you have courage? Or should I say you're not afraid of death? It was just after school. Many passing students noticed the commotion here. Because of my status as the acting headmaster, no one dared to step forward. Looking at Director Chen. As if looking at an idiot, Director Chen still dares to cause trouble for me now. Isn't this just asking for it? I glanced blandly at Director Chen. I am not interested in wasting time with you here right now. After speaking, I looked directly at the people around. I need 10 people, as long as you can throw him out of the academy. Each person will be rewarded with 1 academic credit. Director Chen was disdainful. He snorted coldly. Academic credit? Who do you think you are? A student's academic credit. But before Director Chen could finish, several students rushed forward and restrained him. Director Chen was bewildered. Just as he was about to be thrown out of the academy, the former headmaster happened to walk out of the hall. Director Chen saw the former headmaster. His eyes lit up. However, when he saw the person next to the former headmaster, his expression suddenly changed. Not just Director Chen. The students who saw that person also stopped in their tracks. It was a middle-aged woman. She wore a War Department badge on her chest, a 4-star high-ranking commander. just one step away from being a Grand Commander. Why would such an important figure appear in the academy? The middle-aged woman saw the chaotic scene before her. She couldn't help but frown. She looked at the headmaster and asked, "Headmaster, what is going on here?" Before the former headmaster could speak, Director Chen quickly said, "Headmaster, this student has disrespected his superior. Not only did he break my arm, he even conspired with these students to throw me out of the academy. I asked the headmaster to expel this student according to the academy's regulations, and to deal with these students as well." The middle-aged woman, that is, Cheng Minjing, heard this and looked over. Seeing my calm and composed attitude, a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. It was the first time she had seen a student who, after beating up a high-level academy staff member, could still be so calm and composed. The moment Director Chen finished speaking, the students looked at Director Chen. As if looking at an idiot, Cheng Minjing was flustered. The headmaster spoke icily, "Chen Niansheng, this Imperial City Academy has no place for you. Go pack your things and prepare to leave." Director Chen was stunned, but in his eyes. Even if the headmaster wanted to protect me, he had to at least put on a show. Even if I wasn't directly expelled, I definitely wouldn't have a good outcome. But he didn't expect. Not only did the headmaster not punish me, he even wanted to expel him. Cheng Minjing also looked at the headmaster with suspicion. She quite liked thorny little characters like me. The first time she saw me, she wanted to pull me into the War Department, but rules are rules. If the headmaster, because of my mistake, arbitrarily dealt with a high-level academy staff member, she couldn't agree to that either. Director Chen came to his senses. He took a deep breath and questioned the headmaster. "Headmaster, even if I have to die, shouldn't you let me die with a clear reason?" The former headmaster frowned at this. "What is unclear to you?" Hearing this, Director Chen's face grew uglier. "I want to know, that lowly student from a small city, what right does he have to your headmaster's badge?" The former headmaster's face turned cold. "You said, who is the lowly student from a small city?" Director Chen sneered. He wasn't interested in continuing this nonsense with the headmaster. He turned his head to look at Cheng Minjing. "Commander, this person across from me is just a newly enrolled freshman, but on his first day, he received the headmaster's badge, and he's used the badge to wreak havoc in the academy. I implore you to report this to the War Department, to dismiss the headmaster, and expel this student." Cheng Minjing frowned at this. Before she could speak, the headmaster laughed. "Disrespecting teachers, not understanding hierarchy, he, as the acting headmaster, needs your respect. What student? What teacher? Understand what student hierarchy." The moment the headmaster finished speaking, Director Chen froze on the spot. He looked at the former headmaster in disbelief. "Acting headmaster?" Cheng Minjing also froze upon hearing this, but she quickly understood and nodded. "So I really am, from the War Department. In that case, he wants to recruit me under his command. It should be much easier." Director Chen came to his senses. He sneered disdainfully. "Headmaster, even if you want to defend him, you don't need to make up such an absurd reason. The War Department would send such a smelly brat to be the headmaster? Do you take me for a fool?" The headmaster took a letter from his briefcase and slapped it onto Director Chen's chest. "This is the appointment letter for the acting headmaster just issued by the War Department. See for yourself." Director Chen stiffly lowered his head, looking at the letter that fell to the ground. But he didn't dare to bend down and pick it up. He knew clearly in his heart, the headmaster would absolutely not dare to forge a War Department document. So he isn't a student. Director Chen's face turned pale. His lips trembled. "He's the new headmaster." Just as she was hesitating whether to beg for mercy, a furious shout suddenly came from the distance. "Who dares to touch my mother?" Director Chen looked up. A look of joy immediately appeared on his face. Her daughter, Chen Feiyu, was running over quickly. This ultimate commander from the War Department had just arrived. She immediately saluted Cheng Minjing respectfully. "Mom, your hand." Chen Feiyu looked sorrowfully at her mother's swollen red wrist. "Mom is fine. Go back quickly." Director Chen was afraid her daughter would offend Cheng Minjing. She waved her hands repeatedly. But Chen Feiyu followed her mother's gaze and locked onto me. "You're the one who hurt my mother. It was me." I nodded calmly. "Is there a problem?" "A problem?" Chen Feiyu sneered. "Once I break your arm, there will be no problem." She charged towards me fiercely. The former headmaster was about to stop her, but was stopped by Cheng Minjing. Cheng Minjing wanted to use this opportunity to probe my strength. Bam! I slapped her in the chest. "Chen Feiyu." She staggered back a few steps. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Cheng Minjing's eyes lit up. "A good seedling. This is definitely the most talented warrior she has ever met." "Comrade," Cheng Minjing took a step forward and said seriously, "The new Grand Commander is organizing the 100-man troop. If you are willing to become my direct subordinate, I can directly give you an official spot." The entire field was in an uproar. The students looked at me with envy. The former headmaster's eyes also widened in surprise. I remained calm. I didn't know spots in the 100-man troop could be internally decided. The moment I finished speaking, the surroundings suddenly fell silent. At this moment, everyone looked at me, stunned. I didn't just immediately. He even dares to question Cheng Minjing's authority. "You should agree first and then talk." The former headmaster was afraid I would anger Cheng Minjing and lose this spot. He quickly reminded me, Headmaster Gu, now is not the time to ask about this. I acted as if I didn't hear, silently looking at Cheng Minjing. Cheng Minjing's face grew even colder. The former headmaster became even more worried. Headmaster Jiu. Before the former headmaster could continue, Cheng Minjing suddenly raised her hand to interrupt him. She looked at me with a cold face. This comrade, are you disbelieving my words, or questioning my ability? Cheng Minjing's gaze was extremely aggressive. My expression remained calm. I simply want to ask. Internally, deciding a spot in the 100-man troop. Did it get Feng Shen's permission? This sentence of mine shocked everyone. They were sure I was crazy, angering Cheng Minjing. What benefit is there for me? Cheng Minjing said coldly. Right. I didn't think that Cheng Minjing, would also misjudge someone. Consider what I just said as unsaid. After saying that, she walked directly towards the academy's main gate. The headmaster couldn't stop her. He could only sigh. I looked at Cheng Minjing's retreating back thoughtfully. The former headmaster sighed with regret. An official spot in the 100-man troop. Such a good thing. And it was lost. Just like that. The students looked at me as if I were a freak. They suspected there was something wrong with my head. Any normal person would agree to join the 100-man troop. I turned my head to look at the former headmaster. Let's go. The former headmaster said awkwardly. Go where? I frowned. To the activity location you mentioned this morning. Hearing this, the former headmaster looked at me with an even more complicated expression. My purpose in wanting to take you there was hoping you could get a spot in the 100-man troop, but that spot was just delivered to your hands. And you didn't take it. What's the point of going now? I retorted. When did I say that I am going in order to join the 100-man troop? The headmaster was flustered again. He felt completely unable to understand me. I wasn't interested in wasting words with him either. I started walking towards the main gate. The headmaster hesitated, but finally followed. Everyone else also quickened their pace to follow. They wanted to see if I would do something earth-shattering. Cheng Minjing took a car to the Xie family's luxurious mansion. Her expression was still gloomy. Just as she was about to enter the Xie family's main gate, a car stopped beside her. Gumunya stepped out of the car. Cheng Minjing felt the powerful aura around her and stopped in her tracks. Gu Munya saw the War Department badge on Cheng Minjing's chest. She was flustered at first. She quickly stepped forward to greet Cheng Minjing. Hello. Cheng Minjing nodded. Seeing this, Gu Munya prepared to leave. Cheng Minjing suddenly pressed her shoulder. Gu Munya instinctively leaned to the side, and in a counter move, controlled Cheng Minjing's hand. But she quickly realized what she had done. Gu Munya quickly took a step back, preparing to apologize. Cheng Minjing raised her hand to stop her. To have such strength and reaction speed at such a young age. Your future is promising. Gu Munya quickly opened her mouth. Thank you for your praise, Commander. Cheng Minjing smiled and asked, What's your name, comrade? Gu Munya replied, My name is Gu Munya. Cheng Minjing nodded. Comrade Munya, are you here today for the recommendation spot for the 100-man troop? Gu Munya nodded. Yes, to be precise. A comrade in arms told her that a spot was given from above. She wanted to come and try her luck. Cheng Minjing immediately smiled and said, Work under me from now on. I will fight for one for you. An internally decided spot in the 100-man troop. Internally decided? Gu Munya was flustered. There's such a good thing. Cheng Minjing saw Gu Munya's reaction and frowned. You don't believe I have this ability? Having the recent experience with me, Gu Munya quickly said, Of course. I believe her. After speaking, she saluted Cheng Minjing again. To be appreciated by you is my honor. I will definitely not disappoint you, Commander. Hearing this, Cheng Minjing showed a satisfied expression. This is the reaction one should have upon hearing her words. It seems my luck isn't bad. I hope you can make me proud. Let that person who just questioned me understand what he has lost. Gu Munya didn't understand. Questioned? Cheng Minjing smiled and nodded. Yes, I just met a warrior who is not as good as you. He questioned whether I could provide an internally decided spot. Cheng Minjing was a little glad at this moment. If I had just decided, I would have missed out on Gu Munya. Gu Munya was flustered upon hearing this. You gave him such a good opportunity. Not only was he ungrateful, he even questioned your words. Cheng Minjing sighed. Yes. Gu Munya's face turned cold. She was immediately filled with righteous indignation. I can't believe the War Department still has such an ungrateful person. Rest assured, when I enter the 100-man troop, I will definitely strive to improve my strength. If I meet him in the future, I will make him regret coming into this world. The moment she finished speaking, she saw me walking over. The moment she saw me, Gu Munya stiffened slightly. Why is this male devil appearing here? Cheng Minjing looked at me. The smile on her face immediately faded. I walked up to Gu Munya and sized her up. I didn't realize before that you had such lofty ambitions, but your current strength is not enough to support your ambition. After speaking, I raised my hand and patted Gu Munya's shoulder. You must start doubling your efforts tomorrow. Gu Munya froze. What ambition did she have? She just wanted to enter the 100-man troop. Could it be that I think She should rely on her own strength to get into the 100-man troop? At this point, Gu Munya's expression became serious. She quickly turned to look at Cheng Minjing and said, "Commander, it is my honor to be appreciated by you. But, I think, I should rely on my own ability to enter the 100-man troop. If my own strength is not enough, and I take someone else's spot, not only is it unfair to others, it's also irresponsible to myself." Cheng Minjing froze upon hearing this. She had been rejected once again. But thinking that Gu Munya had agreed to work under her, she thought it was acceptable. She looked at Gu Munya with appreciation, a young lady with a future. This time, it seemed she had really found a treasure. Gu Munya not only has strong strength and reaction ability, she also has such a heart and spirit. Such a person decided to follow her. Thinking of this, Cheng Minjing revealed a proud smile. She hesitated and took out a silver ring from her pocket. "Munya, consider this a greeting gift from me. Wear this ring. People in the war zone will understand that you are my person. Your future work will be much more convenient." Hearing this, Gu Munya looked at my expression. It was certain it hadn't changed much. Only then did she sigh in relief. Then she looked at the ring in Cheng Minjing's hand. If she got this ring, it was basically equivalent to being able to walk sideways in the war zone. Gu Munya took a deep breath. She looked at Cheng Minjing and spoke respectfully. "Thank you, Commander Cheng. If there's anything in the future, just give the order. I will definitely do my best to complete it." Cheng Minjing smiled and patted her shoulder again. "Get first place in today's activity. Let that brat, who dared to question my authority, understand clearly that there are many people stronger than him. Without him, I will only find more outstanding talents than him." Gu Munya looked at the ring and immediately said with a serious face, "In the activity later, if he takes the stage on his own initiative, I will openly and honorably exchange blows with him. If he doesn't dare to go up, I'll force him onto the stage even if I have to drag him." Hearing this, Cheng Minjing immediately laughed out loud. "Good girl. You have a future." After Cheng Minjing finished speaking, she wanted to pull Gu Munya into the Xie family's main gate. Rong Jingyan's voice suddenly came. "Auntie Cheng." Cheng Minjing tilted her head slightly and saw Rong Jingyan getting out of a car. Cheng Minjing immediately stood up straight, then bowed slightly. "Your Highness." Rong Jingyan quickly stepped forward and supported Cheng Minjing's arm. "Auntie Cheng, you don't need to mind these empty formalities when you see me." Gu Munya was flustered. She quickly spoke, respectfully. "Your Highness." Although she didn't know Rong Jingyan's identity, from Cheng Minjing's reaction, she could guess a little. Rong Jingyan smiled at Gu Munya. "No need for formalities." After speaking, he tilted his head slightly to look at me standing beside them. Cheng Minjing also looked at me. Seeing I had no intention of greeting him, her face turned completely cold. "You don't even greet His Highness when you see him." I had already guessed Rong Jingyan's identity. I still had no intention of greeting him. Seeing me not move, Cheng Minjing's face became even uglier. Just as she was about to strike me in anger, Rong Jingyan suddenly raised his hand. "Auntie Cheng. He's just a commoner. It's normal that he hasn't met me. I don't mind this small matter. Let's go in." After speaking, he didn't look at me again. The main gate of the Xie family, Cheng Minjing glanced at me, and also followed them into the Xie family's main gate. Glad I didn't give me the spot. Otherwise, it would have just been a waste of a good opportunity. The Xie family head quickly came to welcome them, his face full of smiles. "Prince Rong, Commander Chen, my apologies for not welcoming you." Rong Jingyan chuckled lightly. "Auntie Xia." The Xie family head quickly waved his hand. "Your Highness, you'll be the death of me. Where is Xia Qingming?" Rong Jingyan got straight to the point. "Your Highness knows my daughter." The Xia family head was surprised. "She saved my life." Rong Jingyan explained simply. The Xia family head's eyes lit up. "This is fate. I will definitely tell her to seize this well." Before he finished speaking, I pushed the door open. "Auntie Xia, we meet again." Rong Jingyan frowned. Cheng Minjing sneered. "A mere mid-level commander dares to claim a connection. Who would have thought the Xia family head would immediately say respectfully, 'Commander Gu, you've arrived. Please come in.'" Cheng Minjing froze. Her gaze became complicated. She secretly guessed, this person must have a powerful backer. Entering the backyard, I casually took a piece of cake. Rong Jingyan observed me and asked probingly, "Is it good? If you want some, get it yourself." I didn't even raise my head. Rong Jingyan didn't give up. "You didn't often eat this kind of cake before." "None of your business." My one sentence made him choke. Just as the atmosphere became awkward, a middle-aged woman took the stage. "Everyone, please be quiet." The courtyard immediately fell silent. The middle-aged woman nodded to everyone. "Welcome everyone to tonight's activity. I am here to briefly introduce to everyone who participated in the Grand Leader Feng Xian's family banquet last night has received 3 recommendation slots for the 100-man troop. In order not to waste those few slots, the family heads have decided that all slots will be given to the capable. Now, each family with a slot has chosen 3 candidates, and will have the 3 candidates ranked by strength. After she finished speaking, she stepped to the side of the stone stage. She pointed a hand at the screen behind the stone stage. Please look at the screen. As soon as she finished speaking, the screen displayed the names of the great families of the imperial city, the names of the 3 candidates, and the corresponding warrior level of the candidates. I took a quick look. Most of the candidates are intermediate level warriors. There are also a few junior level and high level warriors. But only 3 people. The host spoke again. Powerful individuals in the academy who did not get a recommendation slot can still challenge the family candidates. As long as you win, you can replace the original family candidate and get the slot. In the future, when that family faces a crisis, you should lend a helping hand. As soon as the host's words fell, many people's eyes revealed a feverish excitement. To them, as long as they could defeat the corresponding family member, they could get a recommendation slot for the 100-man troop. This activity was like a godsend to them. The host spoke again. Additionally, candidates can also challenge each other. In the end, the strongest candidate will be chosen and receive the supreme honor along with their family. If anyone wants to challenge, you may begin. After the host finished speaking, Rong Jingyan across from me tilted his head and gave a faint smile. Hearing how the head of the Xia family addresses you, I think you must be a warrior. Want to go up and give it a try? I looked at him faintly, not interested. The smile on the corner of Rong Jingyan's lips faded. Not interested? Or can't win? Before I could answer, a voice suddenly came out. Il, go first. Everyone looked towards the voice. Gu Mue stepped out, a peak-level intermediate warrior. At this age, her strength is considered the best among her peers. Gu Mue went up to the stone stage. She scanned the screen. She randomly chose a peak-level junior warrior. That junior warrior went up to the stone stage trembling. However, in just a few seconds, he was kicked off by Gu Mue. Everyone looked at Gu Mue with adoration, gasped. So strong. The host's voice came out in a timely manner. Su Tianju of the Xu family is defeated. Gu Mue heard this. She felt a sense of satisfaction. At this moment, she saw Chang Minjing below. She immediately thought of her promise to Chang Minjing. Plus, she was enjoying the pleasure of tormenting people. She wanted to feel it again. She immediately looked down and said, Commander Chang has shown me great favor. She is the person I, Gu Mue, will strive to follow. She was kind enough to give you a chance. Not only were you ungrateful, you even spoke ill of her. If I, Gu Mue, didn't know about this, it would be one thing. But since I know, I can't just sit and watch. As soon as Gu Mue's words fell, the surroundings fell into a dead silence. I looked at Gu Mue. I was also a little surprised. Why didn't I know Gu Mue had such a temper? Everyone heard this. They looked at Chang Minjing, who was so bold to dare provoke Commander Chang. With the strength of the person on stage, that person is definitely unlucky today. Chang Minjing looked at Gu Mue with even more satisfaction. Right after, she turned her head to look at me. When she saw I was still eating cake, she immediately became more disappointed. In her eyes, my calmness now either meant I didn't take Gu Mue seriously, or I had no intention of going on stage at all. Both proved that she had misjudged me before. Seeing no one come out, everyone was clearly getting a little impatient. Where is he? Why isn't he coming out? Anyone with a bit of backbone wouldn't cower like that. Gu Mue heard the voices speaking up for her. She immediately felt more confident. Il, say it again now. If you're a man, stand up for me. I stood up from my chair. I spoke unhurriedly. So a woman is the one who has to stand up. Didn't Commander Chang tell you I am not a woman? Gu Mue froze on the spot. Her mind fell into chaos. Heaven can't play like this. She's going to get someone killed. Just as Gu Mue was stunned, gasps of surprise rose from the crowd. Commander Gu. Commander Gu is here again. Actually, I just saw him, but I didn't dare to greet Commander Go. Chang Minjing saw the reactions of the family heads. She was certain I came from some great family, but then a trace of doubt flashed in her eyes. Someone who is so well known by these family heads. Why does she have no impression of him? Gu Mue looked at me. Commander Ju? What? I wasn't talking about you. Quickly sit down. Gu Mue's legs were clearly trembling slightly. I looked at her and smiled. Is that so? Well, no, if I asked that Commander Chang. Gu Mue's face stiffened. Seeing Chang Minjing nod at her, she suddenly felt like the sky was falling. I walked onto the stone stage to face Gu Mue in a fight. Gu Mue looked at me. She wanted to beat herself to death. Everyone watched us face off on the stage. They all sighed with emotion. I really didn't expect. The one conflicting with Commander Chang is actually Commander Gu. This time, there's a good show to watch. I looked at Gu Mue. Go on. How do you want to teach me to be a better person? Gu Mue really wanted to cry. Teach a male demon to be a better person. Isn't this trying to get her killed? Seeing Gu Mue didn't answer, I raised an eyebrow and hummed lightly. Gu Mue heard it. Her body trembled violently. She almost fell to the ground. She looked at me, wanting to explain. It finally came out as I was wrong. As soon as the words were spoken, the surroundings fell into a dead silence again. Soon, sounds of disbelieving discussion arose. Commander Chang's favored subordinate is actually so afraid of Commander Gu. Commander Gus' strength is great, but it shouldn't be to the point of making Gu Mue lose all will to fight. Gu Mue hurriedly took off her ring. As if fleeing, she rushed down from the high stage. She presented the ring to Chang Minjing. Commander Chang, this is what you gave me. I am sorry. I am not worthy of it. I am returning it to you now. Chang Minjing looked at the ring in front of her. She only felt an invisible slap. Slapping her old face, she calmed her surging emotions. She stared at Gu Mue and asked, "Do you know by returning this ring to me, what you will lose?" Without waiting for Gu Mue's reply, she looked up at me. "As long as I am in the 100-man troop for a day, you can forget about entering the 100-man troop for a day." After she finished speaking, under everyone's stunned gazes, she turned to look at me. She continued, "And you? I don't know what wicked trick you used to make her go against my wishes, but I can responsibly tell you, a person like you can forever forget about stepping into the 100-man troop." As soon as Chang Minjing's words fell, the surrounding family heads froze at the same time. I am the person in charge of the 100-man troop. If even I can't get into the 100-man troop, then who else can? Just as everyone was confused, I looked at Chang Minjing, and words came from my mouth, causing Chang Minjing and everyone else to freeze on the spot. I smiled and said, "This Commander Chang. I can clearly tell you who gets into the 100-man troop, and who doesn't. That's my business. It's not your place to point fingers in front of me." The surroundings fell silent. Chang Minjing heard my words. Her face was full of disbelief. Since she became a high-ranking commander, no one had ever dared to be so disrespectful to her. The surrounding family heads were also stunned. They knew everything I said was the truth. But Chang Minjing is a 4-star high-ranking commander. My words directly offended her. Wasn't I afraid of having my authority to decide the 100-man troop slots revoked? Thinking of this, many family heads' expressions changed at the same time. If the organizer of the 100-man troop was changed, each of their families wouldn't necessarily have 3 recommendation slots. Their efforts might be in vain. Before the family heads could speak, Chang Minjing was already provoked by me. "Stinky brat, you're not old, but your tone is quite big. Today, they'll make a promise right here. If you can really get into the 100-man troop, I, Chang Minjing, will voluntarily renounce my 4-star high-ranking commander title, and from now on, withdraw from the Aisha Kingdom's War Department." Many family heads prepared to mediate the conflict between Chang Minjing and me. Hearing this, they were all stunned. I don't need to join that 100-man troop. Without me, the 100-man troop can't even be formed. I looked at Chang Minjing and spoke. "Where is your brain? But since you've always considered the War Department, and you don't have much real malice towards me, you don't need to withdraw from the War Department." I finished speaking and paused, then I continued. "But from now on, I don't want to see you. From now on, when you see me, you take a detour." Chang Minjing froze again upon hearing this. She had never seen a junior who dared to speak so arrogantly in front of her. Just as Chang Minjing was about to say something, a few surrounding family heads, afraid she would commit career suicide, quickly spoke up. The family heads' voices were earnest. "Commander Chang, you worked so hard to get to this position. You can't give it up so easily. Look, Commander Jiu is so young, and he's already become the new Grand Leader's confidant, and is in charge of organizing the 100-man troop. It's unavoidable that he's a bit young and aggressive. Please be more tolerant." The last person's words had just fallen. The anger on Chang Minjing's face froze. She couldn't quite believe her ears. A family head looked at Chang Minjing. He immediately understood what she was thinking. He immediately smiled and spoke. "Commander Chang, at last night's banquet, Grand Leader Feng Shen personally announced Commander Gus' identity. What just happened was all a misunderstanding. Why don't you two consider this a case of not getting acquainted without a fight?" Hearing this, Chang Minjing couldn't help but believe it. Her expression changed unpredictably. Thinking about what she had just done, she felt like she wanted to find a hole in the ground to crawl into. I looked at her with a half smile. Since this family head has said so, I naturally have to give him face. I remember Commander Chang at the entrance thought very highly of Gu Muye. He wanted to give her a reserved spot. In that case, the first spot in the 100-man troop goes to Gu Muye. "Commander Chang, what do you think of my decision?" Hearing this, Chang Minjing only felt suffocated. The family heads heard this with complicated expressions. They had heard with their own ears Chang Minjing say to Gu Muye, "As long as she is in the War Department for a day, Gu Muye can forget about entering the 100-man troop." Wasn't I forcing Chang Minjing into a corner? Gu Muye was also a little stunned. She never thought that one day I would acknowledge her. A feeling of being affirmed by her idol filled her heart. Chang Minjing seemed about to faint from my angering her. I smiled. "I just want Chang Minjing to understand. You can't lose your vigilance just because you've been in a high position for a long time. And your caution, otherwise sooner or later you will cause a great disaster." Before everyone could recover, a few successive claps rang out. This family infighting drama is really good. Everyone looked towards the voice. A young woman walked out from a corner. To be honest, for the Shia Kingdom to rise to such a level in just a few years, it naturally has its unique aspects. I originally thought, although most parts of the Shia Kingdom are not as good as my Luo Ri Empire, there should be something worth learning. But I have to say, These two high-ranking commanders of the Chai Kingdom have disappointed me. As soon as the young woman's words fell, the black cloak she was wearing was opened. Inside was a long white robe. Some people around immediately recognized the clothes. They gasped, "People of the Luo Re Empire." As soon as the words fell, everyone looked at the young woman with hostility. Decades ago, the Luo Rai Empire once invaded the lands of the Shai Kingdom. Every person of the Shai Kingdom boycotts and is hostile to the Luo Rai Empire. Someone asked, not understanding, why are people from the Luo Ri Empire here? Head of the Shai family, even people from the Luo Rai Empire can sneak in. Is your security staff just eating for free? The head of the Iksha family looked at this young woman. His face was as gloomy as water. To be able to sneak in under layers of checks, you have some skill. But since you dared to come, don't bother going back. Hearing this, everyone's expressions softened a little. They looked at the young woman, full of killing intent. However, the young woman showed no signs of tension. She glanced faintly at everyone and snorted disdainfully. Your Iksha Kingdom's monarch is begging to cooperate with my Luo Rai Empire. You, a mere family head, want to oppose my Luo Rai Empire. Hearing this, everyone was embarrassed. The killing intent on their faces grew stronger. The young woman seemed to not notice, but smiled and spoke. I have heard. As long as one is under 25, everyone is eligible to join the 100-man troop that the Shai Kingdom is about to form. It doesn't specify any nationality. After speaking, she looked at Gu Muye. If I didn't just hear wrong, she has already received an official spot in the 100-man troop. Then does that mean as long as I defeat her, I can join the 100-man troop? As soon as the young woman's words fell, everyone's expression changed almost at the same time. This person is clearly here to cause trouble. Gu Muye heard this. Her face turned cold. Defeat me? You? What big words. However, as soon as her words fell, the young woman suddenly grabbed her by the neck. Gu Muye instinctively grabbed the young woman's wrist, wanting to pull it away, but she soon discovered in despair. The young woman's hand was like an iron pincer. Even if she used all her strength, she still couldn't budge it an inch. As the feeling of suffocation continued to increase, she felt a sense of life-threatening crisis. Just when Gu Muye felt she was about to suffocate, the young woman suddenly raised her hand and threw. Gu Muye was immediately thrown out. She slammed heavily onto the ground. The young woman looked down at everyone as if they were ants. This kind of trash, in my Luo Rai Empire, doesn't even have the qualifications to join the War Department. But here, you treat her like a treasure. No wonder. When people from the Xi Kingdom go to the Outer Realm battlefield, they always exchange the greatest sacrifices for the weakest advantage. Your country is full of trash. If you didn't send so many people to their deaths, a country like yours would probably have been destroyed. I really don't understand. Why did Master have to send so many elites to the Shai Kingdom for a learning exchange? This backward, barbaric land, what is there worth us learning? Hearing this, the family heads froze. The Luo Rai Empire's War Department sent people to the Shai Kingdom. How is that possible? How could the High Command of the Xia Kingdom's War Department agree? A family head shouted. What nonsense are you talking about? The young woman heard this. Her expression was disdainful. Nonsense. In my Luo Rai Empire, strength is the truth. I'll make a statement here today. If there's anyone here under the age of 25 who can defeat me, I, Gong Tianyu, will shut up. But if there isn't, then the words I say, you can only listen obediently. However, as soon as Gong Tianyu's words fell, a strong gust of wind suddenly attacked from behind. He subconsciously leaned aside, but his cheek was still scratched. Drawing a line of blood, he looked at Gu Muye. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Gong Tianyu wiped the fresh blood from his cheek. Then he put his finger to his lips and wiped it. He stared at Gu Muye, lowly peasant of the Xi Kingdom. You've successfully provoked me. After speaking, he didn't wait for Gu Muye to react. His figure flashed, and immediately appeared in front of Gu Muye. Gu Muye's heart suddenly tightened, because the training from a few days ago had created muscle memory. Gu Muye subconsciously raised her hand to meet Gong Tianyu's fist. The sound of fists colliding rang out. Under that great force, Gu Muye's body flew out again. This time, she crashed directly into the central stone stage. Gu Muye spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Gong Tianyu stood in place, almost motionless. He looked at Gu Muye arrogantly. You should thank your opportunistic monarch. If he hadn't taken the initiative to show goodwill to my Luo Ri Empire, and invited the elites of the Luo Ri Empire for an exchange, I would have directly executed this lowly person of the Xia Kingdom. As soon as Gong Tianyu's words fell, Gu Muye slowly raised her head. She stared at Gong Tianyu. Word by word, you're courting death. As soon as the last word was spoken, Gu Muye found strength from somewhere, and charged fiercely towards Gong Tianyu. Gong Tianyu saw Gu Muye. He frowned in annoyance. Stupid old rat of the Shai Kingdom. He unhurriedly raised his leg. Gu Muye's body was kicked away. Kicked away in an instant. She spat out a large mouthful of fresh blood. She seemed to feel no pain. The moment her body hit the ground, she charged towards Gong Tianyu again. This time, before Gong Tianyu could act, she pounced on his leg and held it tightly. She bit down directly. Gong Tianyu felt a sharp pain in his leg. He screamed. He looked down at Gu Muye. A sense of humiliation welled up. Damn it. Him. Gong Tianyu was injured twice by this lowly person of the Xia kingdom. Under extreme anger, he no longer showed mercy. He attacked Gu Mui frantically. The sound of Gu Mu's ribs breaking echoed. However, Gu Mui still had no intention of letting go. The extreme pain seemed to stimulate her nerves. She bit down even harder. At this moment, a madness was revealed in Gu Muye's eyes. If she doesn't make it today, Gong Tianyu can also forget about, leaving here in one piece. I looked at Gu Muye and nodded with satisfaction. In previous training, Gu Muye lacked a certain fierceness. If she didn't overcome this hurdle, she would never be able to become a high-level warrior in a short time. But now, Gong Tianyu has triggered her spirit. It wasn't in vain that I deliberately said I'd give Gu Muye the first spot to draw him out and have Gong Tianyu aim his spearhead at her. Gong Tianyu faintly felt a large piece of flesh was about to leave his body. His attacks also gradually fell into a frenzy. The sound of breaking bones came from all over Gu Muye's body. Her body was already a bloody mess. Her breathing also gradually weakened. However, even so, the force of her bite did not loosen. The family heads were all fired up. Save her. Beat him to death. In my Xia Kingdom's land, it's not the turn for someone from the small Luo Rai country to cause trouble. Just as everyone was about to rush forward, an ice-cold shout came. Everyone, stop for me. Everyone in Gong Tianyu stopped their actions almost at the same time. They looked towards the voice. A line of more than 10 people slowly walked over. Leading them were two middle-aged women. One of them was wearing the uniform of the Luo Rai Empire's War Department. His title was equivalent to a Grand Leader of the War Department, but everyone's gaze only swept past him and fell on the woman next to him. They gasped. Leader Rong saw the woman immediately. This person is one of the 4 great leaders of the Xia Kingdom's War Department, the 3rd leader. Rong Jingxuan, also the only younger sister of the supreme ruler of the Xia Kingdom. No exaggeration. Rong Jingyan saw Rong Jingxuan immediately and subconsciously stood up. Rong Jingxuan's gaze swept over Gong Tianyu and Gu Muye. She looked at Gong Tianyu. Her tone allowed no doubt. Let her go for me. Gong Tianyu only looked at her faintly. He had no intention of letting go. The leader of the Luo Rai Empire stepped forward and spoke with a smile. Leader Rong, your Xia Kingdom has always claimed to be a nation of etiquette. You're telling my person to let go first. Shouldn't this Xia Kingdom warrior first, for her lack of etiquette, kneel down and apologize to my warrior? Rong Jingxuan's face immediately turned cold, without even asking for the cause of the matter. Leader Gong tells my Xia Kingdom person to kneel and apologize. Don't people from the Luo Rai Empire use their brains when they do things? The smile on the Luo Rai Empire leader's face froze. He turned his head to look at Gong Tianyu. Gong Tianyu endured the pain and spoke to explain. I just wanted to challenge this person who was internally selected as the first member of the 100-man troop. But unfortunately, in my eyes, she is just trash. All the lowly peasants of the Xia Kingdom under 25 here are trash. Hearing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader said to Rong Jingxuan, Leader Rong, you heard that. This warrior of mine invited your Xia Kingdom people to a friendly spar. This person from your Xia Kingdom lost, but used such unruly methods to retaliate against my countrymen. Such actions are truly despicable. If this matter cannot be resolved satisfactorily today, then the elite delegation my Luo Rai Empire brought will have no reason to stay for this learning exchange. Gong Tianyu heard this and spoke disdainfully. This person at my feet is the first member of the soon-to-be-established 100-man troop of the Xia Kingdom. The most important first member has such lowly strength. I think we are completely wasting our time here. Hearing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader looked at Rong Jingxuan and asked, Leader Rong, is the strength of your Xia Kingdom's people really all so become unbearable, unworthy? Rong Jingxuan's face immediately darkened. She had to admit a truth. Except for the ones I personally trained, the strength of the Sky Wolf troop is still decent. The remaining young people in the Xia Kingdom's War Department are truly not a match for the warriors of the Luo Rai Empire. Seeing this, the Luo Rai Empire leader's expression also gradually turned cold. Leader Rong, initially, because of the existence of the Sky Wolf troop, I had high hopes for your Xia Kingdom. But if your Xia Kingdom's younger generation only has this much strength, we, the Luo Rai Empire, really don't need to stay here for a bunch of trash. Rong Jingxuan's expression immediately became uglier regarding the words of the Luo Rai Empire leader. She really didn't know how to refute them. Just as the atmosphere was getting tense, I stepped out unhurriedly. The family heads were all a little stunned to see me. Gong Tianyu looked at me playfully. I walked over to Gu Muye. I bent down and fed Gu Muye a pill. Gu Muye, with her fading consciousness, opened her mouth. The pill entered her mouth and dissolved into her body. The medicinal power spread through her body. Gu Muye tried hard to open her eyes. Seeing my face, she opened her mouth. She spoke with difficulty. Boss, I am sorry. I've embarrassed you. I looked at her faintly. Train well from now on. Gu Mai immediately replied. Yes, I curled the corner of my lips. Then I stood up and looked at the leader of the Luo Ri Empire. An extremely powerful aura spread out from around me. Everyone around held their breath at the same time. Whispers came from the crowd. Commander Gu is under 25. Is he capable of defeating that Gong Tianyu? Probably not. If Commander Gu was confident, he would have acted sooner. The Luo Rai Empire leader felt my gaze. His face immediately turned cold. Gong Tianyu suddenly laughed disdainfully. He stared at me. What? You want to stand up for the women of your country? I didn't even give him a glance. I kept looking straight at the Luo Ri Empire leader and spoke faintly. 10 days. Hearing this, the Luo Ri Empire leader frowned. What, 10 days? I raised an eyebrow. In 10 days, the 100-man troop of the Sai Kingdom will be officially formed. It will compete with the elite delegation of your Luo Ri Empire that came to the Xi Kingdom to conduct a friendly exchange between our two countries. Do you dare? As soon as my words fell, everyone gasped. They looked at me like I was a madman. The 100-man troop hasn't even been formed yet. Besides, even in 10 months, the younger generation of the Sai Kingdom would not be a match for the young elites of the Luo Ri Empire. The Luo Rai Empire leader's face also turned cold. His expression was unfriendly. Even if you want to challenge my Luo Ri Empire's elite delegation, it should be Leader Rong who tells me. Who are you? This is not your place to speak. At this moment, the head of the Xi family hurriedly stood up and introduced. This is Commander Gu, in charge of organizing the Sai Kingdom's 100-man troop. The Luo Ri Empire leader and Gong Tianyu were both embarrassed. The next moment, Gong Tianyu suddenly burst out laughing. A few seconds later, he pointed at my nose. The commander organizing the 100-man troop, your Xi Kingdom, has fallen so low that it needs to rely on this kind of person for protection. Hearing this, Rong Jingxuan's face grew colder. Step back, she was certain. Forming a team in 10 days that can challenge the elite delegation of the Luo Ri Empire is a fool's dream. Seeing this, Gong Tianyu became even more arrogant. At first, I thought how formidable the upcoming 100-man troop of the Sai Kingdom would be. I didn't think it would just be a motley crew organized by a lowly person. My lord leader, let's go. There's no need for us to be here, wasting time with these trash from the Xi Kingdom. Gu Muye heard this. She felt that Gong Tianyu was committing suicide. After Gong Tianyu finished speaking, I finally stopped ignoring him. Finished speaking. Gong Tianyu looked at me with disdain. What? You have an opinion on my words? Then today I will teach you. In the War Department, strength is the truth. As a weakling, you can only unconditionally accept and obey, Gong Tianyu said, suddenly taking a step forward. The distance between him and me closed. He looked up at me. I smiled viciously. Because I am stronger than you, so even if I tell you to die, you can only die. Understand? I looked at him and smiled faintly. Understood. Gong Tianyu raised an eyebrow. He didn't think I would be so sensible. Just as he was about to lecture me again, I raised my leg and kicked his lower abdomen. Gong Tianyu sneered. He immediately raised his hand, wanting to grab my ankle, but the moment he touched me, the sound of breaking bones rang out. An excruciating pain shot from his palm to his brain. Gong Tianyu groaned in pain. I kicked him in the lower abdomen. Gong Tianyu screamed miserably. His knees gave way, and he knelt before me. I tilted my head slightly. Looking down at Gong Tianyu, I spoke with a faint expression. I didn't touch you just now, because you weren't worthy of me acting personally. But since you were kind enough to teach me the principle of the strong, if I don't repay you with action, it would probably be a disservice to your kind intentions. I spoke under everyone's stunned gazes. I spoke to Gong Tianyu with no room for doubt. As a strong person, how can you kneel before me? Stand up for me. My voice clearly entered his ears. He felt extremely humiliated, but he could only stare at me, letting out agonized roars. Everyone was shocked. They didn't think my strength was so great. The Luo Rai Empire leader looked at Rong Jingxuan and questioned, I just heard. He is already a high-ranking commander. Gong Tianyu is only an intermediate commander. A high-ranking commander takes action to deal with someone of a much lower rank. Don't you feel ashamed? Hearing this, Rong Jingxuan frowned. Before she could say anything, I looked at the Luo Rai Empire leader. According to you, I am equivalent to his superior. So if your Luo Rai Empire didn't teach him how to behave, I'll help you teach him. Is there a problem with that? The aura around the Luo Rai Empire leader grew colder. A warrior of my Luo Rai Empire. It's not your turn to teach him. After he finished speaking, he released a powerful aura. Everyone looked at the leader of the Luo Rai Empire in shock. This leader of the Luo Rai Empire is actually a war king-level powerhouse. Rong Jingxuan's face was also shocked, but I just smiled lightly. I opened my mouth unhurriedly. Since it's not my turn to teach, then please keep your dogs in check. Don't let them run loose and bite people. The leader of the Luo Rai Empire looked at me coldly. Do you think that because Commander Rong is here, I wouldn't dare to touch you? With that, he took another step forward. Immediately, an even more powerful aura radiated out. The killing intent from the leader of the Luo Rai Empire towards me became more obvious. At this moment, everyone was worried about me. They advised me to soften up and apologize to the other party. I looked at the people around me. I smiled faintly. Thanks for the reminder. Every family head breathed a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, I turned my head and looked coldly at the leader of the Luo Ri Empire. 10 days from now, the Xia Kingdom's 100-man troop and the Luo Ri Empire's elite troop will have a life-and-death battle. At that time, I will kill a war king of the Luo Ri Empire as a sacrifice to the heavens. Everyone was completely stunned. They couldn't believe their ears. Kill a war king as a sacrifice to the heavens. Rong Jingxuan shouted. Shut up. Do you want to implicate the entire city? The leader smiled gloomily. Why wait 10 days? I can take your life right now. Rong Jingxuan immediately gave an order. Intentional murder of a superior. According to the law, that's punishable by death. Kneel down and apologize now. I suddenly laughed. I finally understand why the Xia Kingdom is holy but not respected. It's precisely because of trash like you who bows and scrapes before the enemy. It was dead silent. Everyone looked at me as if I were a dead man. The leader added fuel to the fire. It seems your subordinate doesn't respect you at all. Rong Jingxuan angrily shouted. Men, execute this traitor. I coldly retorted. A piece of trash who got her position, thanks to her brother, is also worthy of being called a great commander? Want to execute me? You're not qualified. Everyone around was frozen. Jingxuan's expression changed drastically. A flash of killing intent appeared in her eyes. Knowing that his crime is inescapable, he simply decided to go all out. Someone suddenly thought of something. Yesterday, Great Commander Feng Shen clearly said you were the new commander's confidant. Now you're saying you're the commander. Do you take us for fools? Just then, Feng Shen's voice came from the door. What's going on? Everyone hurriedly stood up. Rong Jingxuan said, seriously, Great Commander Feng. This Commander Jiu is impersonating the new Great Commander. Feng Shen nodded at me as a signal. She turned to everyone and said, initially, to protect Commander Gus' identity, I lied and said he was a confidant. Since he has already admitted it, I don't need to hide it anymore. She looked around. She announced seriously, this person is the new Great Commander of the Xia Kingdom's War Department. The entire hall was deathly silent. Feng Shen continued, Commander Gu, the foreign nations took advantage of your departure to launch a major offensive. Only the Tianlang troop you trained is still struggling to hold on. The front line is about to collapse. Please return to the battlefield immediately. Everyone looked at me in shock. I laughed coldly. Tell the Tianlang troop to retreat. They can join the 100-man troop I am training. As for Rong Jingxuan, as a great commander, but she has never been to the battlefield. It's time for her to serve the country. Feng Shen looked troubled. But she has no actual combat experience. I cut her off directly. From today onwards, either go to the battlefield or withdraw from the War Department, or go to the front lines. The Xia Kingdoms. The War Department doesn't support idlers. The entire hall was dead silent. Everyone looked at me in shock. Rong Jingxuan questioned me with a cold face. How did you become a great commander? Don't you know that the rear guard personnel are more important than the frontline soldiers? My eyes were cold. In your eyes, the soldiers protecting the country are all just brutes, while the talented people in the rear use their wisdom to solve problems. She said arrogantly, this is true contribution. I laughed coldly. The 4 million rear guard personnel all use their wisdom. What contribution does a commander like you make? I have no obligation to report to you. Her face became uglier. Since the frontline soldiers aren't important, I took out my phone and operated it. Then, just tell them all to come back. Rong Jingxuan was worried. Wait. I cut her off. We are of the same rank. I don't need your approval. Feng Shen hurriedly advised. Stopping Commander Jiu from withdrawing the Tianlang troop will endanger the border. Tell Commander Rong to take her 4 million people to defend it. I said with a smile. If you can't hold it, then come and beg me. Rong Jingxuan snorted coldly. Beg you? In your dreams. After sending the order, I said to Feng Shen, the Tianlang troop will return to the country tomorrow. Please arrange for their passage. The leader of the Luo Ri Empire interjected. Is the life and death battle in 10 days still on? Of course, I said, staring at him intently. I will definitely kill you as a sacrifice to the heavens. After everyone had left, I told the head of the Xi family to take me to the rear residence. As soon as I entered, the little fox suddenly shouted in my mind. A star core. That person has a star core. I immediately chased after the fleeting afterimage, leaving the head of the Xia family gaping in astonishment. This speed. Could he be a war emperor? Half an hour later, I returned to Xia Qingning's villa. The little fox was still muttering, almost caught up. How did he suddenly disappear? I glanced at it. Didn't you see? His clothes were similar to Gong Tianyu's. In a few days, the Luo Rai Empire's elite troop will arrive. Well, find him then. You think about it first. I am going to take a shower. After speaking, I picked up the little fox and casually tossed it onto the sofa. The little fox stared intently at the bathroom door. A mischievous glint flashed in its eyes. After I finished showering and came out, I found a human figure had been added to the bed. The little fox was lying on her side, one hand propped up her head. Her body was only covered by a thin blanket, vaguely visible. Master. Her eyes were seductive. The bed is warm. I raised an eyebrow. Seducing me? The blanket slipped down with her movement. I just want to do something for you. Master. I slowly approached. I stopped by the bed. You've got some nerve. Why are your hands trembling? Who's trembling? The little fox was being stubborn. Her hands gripped the bedsheet tightly. I smiled lightly and stroked her hair. It must be hard to hold back. I'll buy you a male fox tomorrow. The little fox first stood on end. I am a divine fox. Mating with a human is more than enough, the way it is now. I'll make do. The little fox angrily reverted to her original form. In a puff of smoke, she ran to the corner of the wall, pointing her butt at me. The next day, I first went to D-City Academy. I let Hai Bao and the others arrange the training. Now, I am at the entrance to the war zone. As soon as I entered, a female commander stopped me. You're late and still so slow. The Tian Lang troop is about to arrive. The whole team is waiting for you from the arts troop. I was about to explain. She cut me off directly. Less nonsense. Follow me. Quickly. Looking at her back, I smiled playfully, just in time to meet an old subordinate. A moment later, the woman brought me to the training ground. At this time, thousands of soldiers stood on the training ground. They stood in a square formation, looking straight ahead, waiting for the Tian Lang troop to arrive. The woman arranged for me to stand at the front of the formation. The woman who brought me was named Chu Jin. She spoke seriously to everyone in the formation. All of you, stand properly from me. Don't move, and be a bit smarter later. None of you can afford to offend the person arriving today. If any of you accidentally offend them, it won't just be you who's unlucky. Everyone around might have to suffer with you. The corner of my mouth twitched. Are the people from the Tian Lang troop that scary? Chu Zhen coldly warned me. In the Tian Lang troop, every single one of them has at least 100 lives on their hands, especially their troop leader. He's a devil who kills without batting an eye. So you better pull yourself together for me. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died later. If it weren't for the fact that I myself am the very devil who kills without batting an eye that she's talking about, I might have believed it. However, before I could say anything, Chu Zhen had already turned and walked away. The soldier next to me suddenly gasped. Gu Cheng, what are you doing here? I looked over. I was also shocked. This young man was none other than the one from the Chen family's party in Yun City, the same young man who said he wanted to kneel and call me father. I didn't think I'd meet him again so soon. I frowned and asked him, are you in the arts troop now? The muscular guy nodded. He smiled bitterly and said, I used the gold coin you gave me to enter the Yun City War Department. They assigned me to the arts troop. At first, I was a bit unwilling, but now, seeing how powerful you are, and yet you're treated like this by them, I suddenly feel that perhaps people like us with no backing in the War Department really have no future. Tonight, I will submit my resignation to the higher-ups. Before I go, I can still meet the members of the Tian Lang troop, whom I admire the most. It's worth it. I looked at him faintly and opened my mouth to ask. The 100-man troop is about to be formed. Don't you want to try? The muscular guy smiled bitterly. The trial spots for the 100-man troop are all allocated by the higher-ups. The people they allocate them to are all powerful high-ranking officials from the Imperial City, let alone a commoner like me with unremarkable strength. Even soldiers with exceptional talent and strength, if they don't have powerful backing, they won't get the qualification to try out for the 100-man troop either. I was stunned, and the aura around me turned cold. I only knew before that the War Department had nearly half a share of maggots, but I didn't think it was completely rotten. It seems it's time for the Xia Kingdom's War Department to undergo a major blood transfusion. This thought appeared in my mind. A large fighter jet suddenly flew in from the sky. The soldiers stood straight, wanting to watch in admiration. They watched the plane slowly land. The cabin door slowly opened. First, Commander Chu Zhen saluted the plane. At the same time, thousands of soldiers raised their hands together. Their movements were synchronized. Suddenly, an anxious voice came from the cabin door. The War Zone Hospital. Where is it? Take us there quickly. Everyone was stunned. Next, Commander Chu Zhen was shocked. A member of the Tian Lang troop is injured, the other person said coldly. What Tian Lang troop? We are Commander Zaya's men. Commander Zaya was seriously injured on the battlefield. His life is in danger now. Quickly take us to the War Zone Hospital. As soon as the words fell, a stretcher was unloaded from the plane. I saw the person lying on the stretcher at a glance. A man in his late 20s. Right now, his face was completely drained of color. Chu Zhen said seriously, follow me. Quickly. After speaking, she immediately led a few people to the War Department's off-road vehicle parked not far away. I followed them. However, Chu Zhen saw me and immediately shouted coldly, what are you following for? Get back from me. I didn't waste words. I directly lifted my leg and kicked her. She staggered a few steps and fell to the ground. I said coldly, I don't have time to waste words with you right now. Don't be an eyesore in front of me. After speaking, I quickly walked to the stretcher. I lifted the blanket on the man. At this moment, Half of his combat uniform was already dyed red with fresh blood. Several wounds were still bleeding. I scanned them. My large hand waved lightly. The sound of several silver needles breaking through the air suddenly rang out. In an instant, 9 silver needles accurately pierced the man's acupuncture points. The soldier carrying the stretcher saw my action and asked nervously, "What are you doing?" I threw another 9 silver needles. The bleeding was definitely stopped. I looked at the soldier. I can save him, but I lack surgical tools. Put him in the car first. Let's go to the hospital immediately. The soldier looked at me doubtfully. You can save me? My expression immediately turned cold. What are you standing there for? To the hospital. The soldier felt the cold aura around me. His breathing hitched. He nodded unconsciously and prepared to drive. Chu Zhen suddenly shouted, "He doesn't know anything about saving people. Quickly, pull out the silver needles he randomly stuck into Commander Xia. Otherwise, Commander Xia might die before he even reaches the hospital." The soldier, who was already suspicious of me, immediately turned to look at me. Is she telling the truth? I looked at Chu Zhen. A cold light flashed in my eyes. I turned back to look at the soldier and ordered, "Drive to the hospital immediately. He'll take responsibility for anything that happens." The soldier heard me. He nodded. He moved to the driver's seat at the fastest speed and started the off-road vehicle. Chu Zhen's eyes widened. She screamed, "Are you guys crazy? The silver needles are still in Commander Xia's body. Quick, pull him out. He's just a useless person from the arts troupe. If something happens to Commander Xia, you'll all be in trouble." However, the 2 soldiers remained silent. Chu Zhen wanted to say more. The off-road vehicle had already started. In an instant, it drove dozens of meters away. Chu Zhen endured the pain and drove another off-road vehicle to chase after them. Half an hour later, the vehicle arrived in front of the war zone hospital. The soldier jumped out of the car, shouting towards the hospital, "Doctor, nurse." However, there was no response at all. I frowned, then said to the 2, "Carry him inside first." They nodded, immediately carried the stretcher, and quickly walked into the hospital. At this time, in the hospital lobby, besides the information desk, other than a dozing nurse, there was no one else around. The soldiers shouted anxiously, "Doctor! Nurse!" The nurse was woken by the noise. She opened her mouth unhappily. "What's with all the shouting? If you want to see a doctor, go line up over there first. A big shot is here for an inspection. You guys wait first. Wait until that's over. They'll be back." The soldier said anxiously, "But our commander is seriously injured. We can't wait." The nurse suddenly stood up. "Commander? What rank of commander?" The soldier quickly replied, "A 2-star mid-rank commander." The nurse glanced at the soldier. "I thought it was a high-ranking commander, just a mid-rank commander. What's the hurry? Go over there and wait in line first." The soldier said hurriedly, "But this isn't an ordinary mid-rank commander. He's the young master of the Xia family." The nurse stood up abruptly. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" As soon as the words fell, nearly 100 doctors and nurses poured into the lobby. The first was a middle-aged woman wearing a dean's name tag. She said with a smile, "Come on. Let us welcome His Highness Jingyan again for joining the D-City War Zone Hospital and becoming a glorious intern doctor." Applause rang out all around, and the person being fawned over by everyone was Rong Jingyan. Rong Jingyan smiled. "I came this time, just to experience life. He'll be asking for everyone's guidance in the future." The dean flattered, "His Highness Jingyan is too humble. I heard that you studied traditional medicine before." Rong Jingyan said contemptuously, "That's right. You don't know until you study it. Once you study it, you realize traditional medicine is all a scam. If you really want to treat diseases and save people, you still have to rely on Western medicine." The dean nodded in agreement. "I didn't expect His Highness Jingyan to be so clear-headed at such a young age. I've never believed that sticking a few needles can treat diseases and save people. It's all just a psychological effect. If sticking a few needles could save people, what would we need scalpels for? Traditional medicine is just garbage." I heard these words. My expression turned cold. Rong Jingyan felt my gaze and suddenly looked at me. Then he frowned. The dean followed his line of sight and looked over. But she first noticed the young master of the Xia family on the stretcher. Her face turned cold. She looked at the nurse and said gloomily, "Didn't the War Zone Hospital already issue a notice that we would be closed for a day to welcome His Highness Jingyan? Why was someone still brought in? Throw them out for me immediately." When the doctors heard this, they criticized. "Nurse Zhang, how can you be so clueless? On such an important day, what if someone dies here? Wouldn't that be a bad omen?" I looked at the doctor who spoke and questioned him coldly. "Is this the attitude you, as doctors, have towards patients?" The doctor said with a cold face, "Who do you think you are? What kind of attitude we have towards patients is none of your business. Get that short-lived thing out of here immediately." "That's right. If you affect His Highness Jingyan's mood, 10 of you wouldn't be enough to pay for it with your lives." The nurse shouted, "This is the young master of the Xia family of D-City." As soon as the words fell, all the doctors froze. Even Rong Jingyan's expression changed. The dean was the first to recover. She immediately shouted anxiously, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and save him. When the doctors heard this, they surrounded the stretcher at the fastest speed. When they saw the young master of the CF family, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Good. The bleeding has stopped. It seems his life is not in danger for the time being. However, as soon as the words fell, I said coldly, 10 minutes at most, he will start bleeding heavily again. He needs an immediate blood transfusion now. The dean frowned. What his condition is, we doctors will judge. His bleeding has clearly stopped. In his current state, he can last at least half a day, but he is the young master of the Saya family. After all, to be cautious, let's move him to the emergency room first. Then check his blood type and prepare for a blood transfusion. The doctor beside her quickly agreed. Then they quickly moved the person to the emergency room. Just as I was about to follow them in, a middle-aged female doctor with a large black mole at the corner of her mouth stopped me. No unauthorized personnel in the emergency room. Wait outside. She raised her hand to close the large door of the emergency room. I directly kicked the large door open. The doctor with the black mole questioned coldly, "What are you doing? Move." I kicked her away directly, but when I entered the emergency room, I was stunned, because in this emergency room, there were nearly 20 tightly closed emergency room doors. I opened the operating room doors one by one. A nurse ran out anxiously from the furthest operating room. I quickly walked to that operating room. Seeing the situation inside, I only felt a surge of blood rush from my feet straight to my head. I saw that the silver needles on the young master of the Aisha family had been completely removed. As for Rong Jingnian, he was performing CPR on the young master of the Sia family. The dean looked at the young master of the Sia family. Fresh blood was constantly flowing out from around him. His aura was also getting weaker. Panicked. "Your Highness, how about we take over? The patient seems to be in some danger. The young master of the Xa family has lost too much blood now. He could die at any moment." However, Rong Jingyan paid her no mind. He increased the speed of his compressions. At this moment, a doctor suddenly saw me. He immediately shouted coldly, "This is the emergency room. Can't you see we're saving someone? Get out." I didn't say. I quickly walked to Rong Jingyan's side. I bent down and grabbed the back of Rong Jingyan's collar and directly threw him to the side. Rong Jingyan slammed hard into a wall. He looked at me, stunned. "How dare you treat me like this?" Everyone in the emergency room was dumbfounded. The dean was the first to react. She immediately ran to Rong Jingyan's side. Anxiously, "His Highness Jingyan, how are you?" Rong Jingyan shook his head and looked at me, coldly. "You interrupted my treatment of the young master of the Sia family. If the Sia family investigates, I will report it truthfully." The doctors nodded in agreement. Under His Highness Jingyan's treatment, the young master of the Sia family's physical condition had already started to improve. But because of you, the young master of the Xia family is now more likely to die than live. The one thing doctors fear most when treating patients is being disturbed. You forcibly interrupted His Highness Jingyan's treatment. This is the murder of the young master of the Xia family. If something really happens to the young master of the Xia family, the Xia family will not spare you. I heard them twisting the truth. The aura around me grew even colder. Condition improving? Did you all feed your medical skills to the dogs? After speaking, I didn't wait for anyone to react. I looked directly at the soldier and opened my mouth. "If you don't want your commander Sia to die, don't let anyone here disturb me." The two soldiers nodded. I walked directly to the young master of the Sia family's side. The doctor saw my action, and all subconsciously looked at Rong Jingyan. At this time, Rong Jingyan's expression was unsightly, but he had no intention of stopping me, because he thought the young master of the Sia family was beyond saving. Under the watchful eyes of the surrounding doctors, my large hand waved lightly twice. The sound of silver needles piercing through the air rang out. More than 10 silver needles accurately pierced the young master of the Xia family's acupuncture points. A doctor beside me was shocked. "What is this?" "It's called acupuncture in traditional medicine." "We just said traditional medicine is useless. You want to use this trick to save him. Is this trying to slap our faces as doctors? If you can stop the bleeding with a few needles, ill, swallow all the needles His Highness just pulled out." However, as soon as the last person finished speaking, the surrounding doctors all widened their eyes in surprise. They saw the fresh blood that had been constantly flowing from the young master of the Xia family miraculously stop. I quickly unfastened the young master of the Xia family's belt. Then I lifted his clothes. Immediately, the bloody bullet hole on his lower abdomen was exposed to the air. Next, I picked up a scalpel. The dean hurriedly warned coldly, "What do you want to do?" "He urgently needs a blood transfusion now. The plasma hasn't arrived yet. If you mess around now, you'll be taking his life." However, I didn't even look at her. But with the young master of the Xia family's current condition, by the time the plasma arrives, hell probably already be cold.